When I did my numbers, I've only spent $1,200 on ads and turned that into 23,000. So I'm pretty like that number
Okay.
kind of shook me. Like I've gotten
Yeah.
11 clients since starting the course. I mean, I had leads coming in within less than 24 hours, but I was getting all these inquiries. Like I was getting Instagram DMs, like so many new follows, but it was, I remember I got my first lead, I believe, within my first 24 hours. And I was like, what the heck? I did not expect this to work that fast.
Yeah.
So your course being very hands-on and very like interactive, that stood out to me alone compared to any others that I've seen or heard of from other people. I just had that click in me where I was just like, okay, if you're taking this seriously and you really care about the growth of your business, I think this is the right decision. So how are we going to make it work? It took months, but I finally made that decision and I'm so glad that I did because this course has paid itself off time and time again and it's only going to be even better. Like I didn't think I would learn this much in this course, to be honest. I just thought I'd come and learn about ads, whatever, but it's been so much more than I could have imagined. When I tell you it is 110% worth it, and to just make it work, take it seriously, act like this is your university. This is what you're graduating from. This is your school. If you look at it that way, the investment actually looks very tiny in the grand scheme of things. Take that leap on yourself. Don't think that you can't afford it. Just ask yourself, how are you going to make it work? And you will be shocked at how much this course will pay itself off if you take it seriously and you apply everything within it.
What's been going on with you, like business wise? How's everything?
Oh, I feel so blessed. I just have these really, really amazing clients coming in that are like prioritizing video over photo, which is very new for me to see. Like these people are like, this is a priority for us. We want to know your rate and we will work around that for photography. And I'm like, oh my God, I could get used to this. So it's just a lot of amazing people that in the last month, like a week ago, that win that I posted of like 10 grand in 3 days of booking, like all of those people were just so hyped on video. And I was like, this is so cool because I find a lot of the time they leave it to last minute. It's, people don't really prioritize video as much. So that's been really, really cool. And overall, like I'm just stoked for summer. There's so many heli elopements that I have coming up and it's really exciting. I'm stoked for this summer. It's going to be good. It's been a good, productive, hermiting kind of winter, and I'm really excited for the sessions to start going. But even 2025 clients now, the people that are coming in, they're just like ideal clients, and I feel really, really grateful to have had all of this like come to be. Business wise, like things have been interesting because I haven't had like the budget to be able to run ads in the way that I've wanted to. So I've just done like a little bit here and there. But I'm like, what's come from just that is like really amazing. So I'm just excited for once I get home May 15th to start doing ads like the way that the course does because I just haven't really had the budget to do it the way I've wanted. So I've kind of implemented with like just a single Instagram ad here or like just a temporary Facebook ad, like one ad for like a few weeks. But I mean, I'm pretty happy with the results that's come from very minimal effort. So once I get home and things go back into like full swing, I'm really excited to see what's going to come from that. Because if this has come from this already, like when I did my numbers the other day, which I feel bad saying I haven't been tracking this whole time because like life has just been a lot. It hasn't been a priority. I've just been like taking bookings as they come and so much life has been happening. So once May comes and I'm like consistent with everything and tracking everything, I'm really excited because these numbers are already so motivating for me.
Freaking love it. What, how much did you spend like when you like, because you said you did like tiny budgets, like whenever
Very.
you turned it on and off, like how much were you spending per day?
I was only spending $5 per day, seven max sometimes, and that was like me bawling out. But
Yeah.
that's like, yeah, that's where I've been because I don't know, I kind of had this like feeling where I was like, I know people in this group spend like sometimes upwards of like 2,500 plus a month. I just
Mhm.
didn't have that luxury, so I was like, hey, I'm gonna do what I can with what I have, and
Yeah.
very happy to see that results have still come from that. So knowing that as of May, there's like a lot of money coming in, I'm like, okay, now I can actually have an ad spend budget and do this properly. But so far, it has just been $5 a day and one ad. So that's what my
And
winter
you'll
has been.
probably just run it for a few days, turn it off, and then turn it back on again.
Yeah, like I had one Instagram ad that was just like continuous $5 a day, and I would let that run for like a month and then I would switch out the ad and do another one. But then there'd be
Mhm.
weeks where I would just turn it off. So it's been a very like people have messaged me in the group asking me for ad advice. I'm like, I'm not your ad advice person. I'm your sales script person. So
Yeah.
that's my like skill strength that has been what I think has made this winter what it is. Um, so yeah, even though I haven't had a good budget like a lot of other people in the group, I'm very happy to say that implementing all of the other things has been able to still generate this kind of revenue. Because when I did my numbers, I've only spent $1,200 on ads and turned that into 23,000. So I'm pretty like that number
Okay.
kind of shook me. Like I've gotten
Yeah.
11 clients since starting the course, and being able like it tripped me out. I was like, wait, I only spent $1,200 and like 23 plus K. Like my brain for a second was like, okay, let's see what's
My brain
possible once
too.
you start like actually putting in more money down the line. So it's been very motivating because a lot of time you think, oh, $5 a day, you won't get anything, you won't get any
Yeah.
results, but work with what you have when you have it instead of nothing at all, and you'll be surprised at what happens.
Yeah. And I think, Jasmine, the biggest misconception is that you have to spend a ton on ads. Like the thing is, if you have the right strategy and you've got the right people in your corner, even a tiny budget like yours, $5 a day, spending here and there, can do wonders because you're still getting in front of your couples. They're getting to know you. They're going to reach out to you. You can book those weddings, turn the ads off when you're done. And then when you get more money, turn it back on. Exactly what you did.
Exactly. And another thing that stood out like a lot for me that you helped me with was your approach of always being this trusted advisor and this guide. So I was like, okay, even though I can't be posting a ton of ads, I'm going to get one ad to get attraction, but then I was like consistently posting a lot of value-based information so that when these people were coming, they could see that I was like actively sharing the littlest things, tips or tricks, this first look, like all these little things of you can just tell that I care. So I think like
Yeah.
mending those two together, because at first I never, like before you, I didn't have that mindset of being like an advisor or like a guide. I was just like, I'm just a videographer. So like breaking out of that and showing people that just through social media and like free posts, little stories because of those ads, like pairing that together, I really made it what it was. But I am so confident in knowing that I do not think that this winter would have been the kind of revenue it was off of so small budget if it weren't for that sales script. Like that's the thing that changed my life. For me, this course was worth it alone just for that sales script. And it's just really cool in less than a year to feel so confident from a place where, like, I was on calls with you being like, oh, I don't know, like, I feel like so awkward. Like, how do I approach this? And now I am able to like hop on a Zoom meeting with other people in the group and like give them what I've learned from you and just this like domino effect. So that's been the biggest thing for me. It's been a really cool journey to see myself come into being a confident salesperson. I just didn't really think that was in me.
Yeah, I freaking love that. So, what do you think was like your biggest lessons that shifted your mindset? Because obviously, like this was not you in the past. You were like a whole different person. How did you become this person? Like, what lessons shifted that mindset for you?
I think firstly, it was the fact that you implement affirmations and like scripting of your own business. That's something that I personally used to do religiously back in the day, but I lost sight of that for a few years. I truly believe that that changed my life many years ago. And I will always stand so strong with how powerful affirmations are. But because I lost sight of it and I bought this course thinking it's just about ads, I was very shocked when the mindset came into it, and it made me realize, oh, I am like really desperate right now. Like I actually don't see myself as the prize. There was a lot of foundational broken pieces that I didn't even realize were huge blockages for me. So reading that script on an audio thing and listening to it every day when I meditate, that is what like catapulted me at first to get my confidence. And then as time went on, as I'm just like, doing my thing with the bookings I had that year, I just started feeling really confident with the feedback that I was getting. So that paired with me working on my mental, it just created this like foundation that was rock solid of, oh, I am actually very valuable. I have a lot to give. I actually care a lot. And I thought everyone cared this much, like in the industry, but I had a lot of experiences this past year with vendors who really don't care. And that really stood out to me. And I was like, hold on a second. I come at this in a very different way than I see a lot of people. I need to showcase that. So I think the biggest thing was just getting that confidence in myself. Like, you helped me so much with that. I didn't realize how desperate I truly was, and that can be felt, right? So
Yeah.
once I got that like confidence in myself, it just kind of trickled into everything. I was like, okay, my prices, I need to up those prices. I'm actually going above and beyond here, which I do work that like not my quality of work, but my deliverables. I don't see any other videography company doing that I know. And I was like, holy crap, I'm doing a lot of work here, but it's because I care so much that I can't deliver less. So I was like, okay, you deserve to bump your prices. And then once I saw the value of what I was doing, because I didn't really realize it for a little bit. I'm not
Mhm.
gonna lie. Like I just thought every videographer did what I did, delivered what I did. I realized that just wasn't the case at all. And I was like over delivering it. Long story short, I just gave them a lot and I was like undercharging myself. So just that confidence and then raising my prices, but then also being able to showcase that value to couples through multiple platforms, but just knowing how valuable that was and being able to communicate it effectively and like in a very calm way. Like before I was so excited. I like jump on the call and it's like dumping information, and that script just helped me refine everything, like going through my deliverables, what is valuable, what is the whole worth of like the prices that I'm charging, which realistically aren't even that high compared to most videographers. But it was just a blend of everything, but the affirmations were the catapult for sure. And then just looking at my work and being like, okay, no, you actually are an extremely valuable asset to these couples and you really care about being there for them. So then just communicating that, because I realized I wasn't showcasing that. And you kind of made me realize that on a call. You're like, I don't remember what you said, but it was something just like, wow, like you're doing a lot. Like you need to
Mhm.
showcase this and like show couples all the behind the scenes of what you're doing. And I was like, oh my God, you're right. I'm doing so much work and no one knows. So
Yeah.
just becoming this advisor of providing a lot of valuable information, like a mixture of all of that is what brought me to this place. So a lot of moving pieces, but yeah.
Yeah, I totally remember that call like vividly, like talking to you, and I was like, yo, you do all that? I was like, I have hundreds of wedding photographers and videographers in my group. Like, no, nobody is doing that. Like, you were going to the extreme. And I remember on that call, like, we were working on your market differentiation, like what makes your brand so unique. And at that time, like I had this unique vision of you, like literally going and dominating Canada because you are just so unique. And I was like, you know what? You need to be doing destinations with this and cultivating an international brand. I don't know if you remember that call.
I do vividly. Yeah.
Yeah. I still have that dream and vision for you, and I know you can actually hit that.
It's really cool. That was the last call that we actually had. So that really stuck with me. And like it's just been crazy from there, the ideas that have come from that. I was like, yeah, this is everything you were saying in that moment. I was like, this is what I see for myself. So
Yeah.
a lot of cool ideas have birthed from that last call. So I'm glad that our last one was like going out with a
The
bang
fire.
because yeah, exactly.
Oh man, I'm getting chills just thinking about this. You have no idea, like how much I also believe in this vision for you. Like I can totally see it in my mind. Like you just taken over. Like it'll be so cool.
Oh, thank you so much. It's you've given me so many, like, exciting ideas that I didn't think about before that I'm like, "Wait, that's super in alignment. How did I not think of that?" So, yeah, you've been
Yeah.
such a beautiful addition to my life, and I'll be forever grateful for that duration of the course. It's just so nice to, like, talk to you face to face. I'm
Oh,
like, "Man, I miss our calls." Even, like, down the line, I'm, like, considering, I'm like, "Oh, I should, like, get back in the group at some point." So
yeah.
maybe I'll join again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, so couple of things. Sales script was a big life changer for you. Okay. I wanted to ask you, a lot of people, when they first hear, like, oh, I have to use a sales script, they're always like, oh my God, is this pushy? Is this like gonna make me look desperate? Do I have to do something icky? What were your thoughts? Because I know you came from a background where you had like probably no sales training, no
Yeah.
nothing, no confidence. Um, what would you say to that person that's like so scared to use a sales script? Like, is it actually salesy?
It's only salesy if you make it salesy. That's why it's so important that you make it your own. It's
Mm,
something that is going to be refined again and again. It's not gonna be something where you see the PDF, you write your own take on it, and it's a one and done. It is a constant, like, it's just you are going to be growing with your business, right? So the way that you communicate, it's gonna change over time. And I just think that it's so important to know that, just like you say, marketing is not a one and done. It's something that you come back to and refine time and time again. And so I think if you just sit with yourself and you really get real with what your values are, why you're in this business. Are you doing it just for money, or do you actually care about these couples and their day? Because I truly think you'll only do really, really well if you do care, right? Because if not, then you're just trying to close the sale. You don't really want to be there. So I think that first of all, it's just like really reevaluating where you are. And if you're like, okay, I really care, this is something that I love, then just know that, okay, the first couple calls, you're going to feel really nervous and there's going to be things that you mess up on. This is why you record your calls so you can go back. But after those few calls and you come back to your sales script and you think, okay, did this feel natural? Did this feel good to me? Because I don't go like to the T, right? You don't want to be reading off a script. Like personally, I have a notebook for the first like 5 calls. I had my notebook where I just had very like few words of jotted for each point that I would go off of. So it's natural and it flows and it's not something that's forced, and they can feel that, right? They can feel if you're not 100% in it and if you're like maybe reading off something. So even though it took a little bit for me to like get into that flow and not need that piece of paper, coming back to it and just making it so you is the best thing to do. But the sales script structure is everything
yes.
because it's making the most out of the time that you have with this couple, not repeating things, not overwhelming them with information and hopping all over the place. And then in the end, even if you have a lot of valuable information, you're overwhelming them. Immediately, they're going to check out if they feel overwhelmed, right? I know that. Like as a consumer, I'm like, I don't care how valuable you are. If you overwhelm me with information and don't provide me with like a simple solution that's valuable, you're talking to me peacefully, I am not going to engage because it's just going to be too much for my brain. So just simplifying everything and making it super informative but structured, that structure has been everything. Because before I'm jumping all over, I'm giving all this information, and then I'm not giving them like really official next steps. I'm just kind of leaving the ball in their court. So I think that the sales script, the structure of it, and also like being an authoritative figure, even though you're like this nice, welcoming person, being that authoritative figure to give them next steps, give them that incentive, those little tidbits, like without that, I don't believe I would have closed as many calls as I have. Because even though I have fewer calls than a lot of people, I'm closing like 9 out of 10 of them. So I
Mhm.
think that's the big difference too, is like if you're having a lot of calls and a lot of them aren't being closed, doesn't matter how many calls you're getting, it matters about your conversion rate, right? So that structure is what I truly believe brings you to that point. So what I would give to anyone feeling nervous about it is like it's okay to be nervous. Like we're not salespeople. We don't come out of the womb being able to sell to left and right. Like it's a skill set that is built over time. So it's natural to feel awkward. It's going to take a few calls for you to get into the flow of it, but keep coming back to it. don't let it overwhelm you to the point where you just kind of write it off and think that you got this. You don't got this. That's why you're here. That's why you're needing help and needing guidance. So I think that that is really important because we all will tend to push things to the side when we feel overwhelmed and like it's too hard for us. So just keep going, keep having your calls, do the sales calls. That's my biggest thing. I ignored that at first. I shared that with you. I was like, "You asked me multiple times, 'Did you do?'" I was like, "No, I did. I just don't wanna do it because I was scared." And but it's so important. So take advantage of this group. Take advantage of being able to connect with people and strengthen that prior to calls because 'cause you're gonna have calls that are not gonna go so well, but you can minimize that by utilizing people in the group to do that practice. So that would be my advice is just, like, keep going. It's okay to feel awkward. It's normal, but eventually you're gonna find your flow and you're gonna feel so confident in it quicker than you think, and you're just gonna thank yourself for not giving up on that because it will change your business. Not only are you gonna close calls with confidence, you're gonna have these couples reaching out to you after thanking you for how informative and valuable that call was and how good they feel in your hands. That was the tipping point for me. Like, when I started getting those messages, I was like, "Oh, this is so cool, like, I didn't expect this." So that would be my advice, just keep going, keep refining, and you will get to a place of confidence 100%.
Yeah. I think the best way to explain this, the sales structure that you talked about, it's like if you go to a really fine dining experience, like a 5 course or 7 course meals, like at a Michelin star restaurant, how they were like bring out the appetizers paired with a perfect glass of wine. Then the next course comes and everything is like perfectly paired, flows into the next dish. That's what a good sales structure or framework does. It feels like
Yeah,
this Michelin star experience. And the thing is, when you don't understand that, a lot of people, what they will do is like bring out the dessert first, then they bring out the appetizer, then they bring out the steak. And it's like, what the heck? And then the salad comes, and it's all like this
yeah,
weird experience. And they think that is being natural. But in reality, people are thinking, like, whoa, that was actually kind of a weird experience. Sure, the chef was nice, but the food wasn't that good. I'm not going to go back. So
yeah.
when you have that structure, people just freaking love it. And that's why you're getting all these raving reviews from your couple saying, like, holy crap, Jasmine, like that was something else.
100%. That was the perfect explanation for something like that, or perfect description, because that's what I would do. I'd bring up the dessert first, and I
Yeah.
would start with that, and then yeah, and then at the end, then I'm like, "What do you like best?" And they're like, "I don't know." So instead, it's like getting to know them, finding what's best for them, and being able to provide it, but in a very structured way. So yeah, that structure is everything, not something to be overlooked in the slightest.
Yeah. I don't think I remember this, but how did you finally get over the fear? Because I know you and I had a bunch of conversations. What pushed you over?
This is only my 3rd year of business, right? Like, this is
Yeah.
wild for me. So, honestly, it was just kind of feeling recognized by others that made me be like, "Okay, this is paying off." Like, how much work and love I'm putting into every little thing that I'm creating is, like, really being valued, and that kind of just made a switch go off in my head, and ever since then, just the way that I approach everything, it just says, "Oh," kind of it's hard to describe it, do you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But
Just
yeah.
just woke you up. It's like I can't sleep on my value anymore.
No, it just, like, clicked, and I was like, "Okay, let's go."
Yeah, totally makes sense. I love it.
Yeah.
Um, so like when you launched your ads, how soon after did you see results? And by results, I mean like, let's first talk about like how soon after did you get the leads coming in?
I mean, I had leads coming in within less than 24 hours, which was weird because and they weren't they were, like, website ads, like,
Mhm.
I knew it was from my ad, but I was getting all these inquiries, like, I was getting Instagram DMs, like, so many new follows, but it was I remember I got my first lead, I believe, within my first 24 hours, and I was like, what the heck? I did not expect this to work that fast. But I would say, like, from the ads, I did get a lot of inquiries within even the first week. Like, I remember within 3 days, I had 5 inquiries, and I was like, "Whoa." And they were coming from everywhere, which I was like, Okay, this is cool. And that was again on my like $5 a day budget. So that's when I was doing like, I guess it was 20 because I was like five, 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 whatever. Each little ad set was $5. So I didn't think I was going to get any traction, to be honest. But I remember you saying, if that's what you have, use it. That's okay. And so from that, I got a lot of new followers who I then just like nurtured over time and then
Yeah.
were able to convert some of them. But I didn't get like calls right off the bat, but I got a lot of traction immediately, which was really cool.
And how soon after did you get your official first booking?
Oh, that's a good question. Honestly, I am not sure. That feels like so long ago because this was
Yeah.
last August. I would say like I think it took 2 months for
Okay.
me to get my first actual booking. There was a lot of, like, conversating with people who just weren't ready, and then I would just nurture them over time with my emails, but the first booking, I think, didn't come until, like, the first 2 months from the ads. However, the calls, like, organic leads that I got, being able to use the sales script already, even though it wasn't even super refined, I was able to get a couple of new clients. I think it was like 2 within those first 2 months as well. So, that was cool. Even the organic leads, I was able to convert because of that, and that was so early onto the sales script when I wasn't even feeling super confident either, which was surprising, but
Yeah. And then how did you start gaining momentum from there? Like, did you just start trusting the process and yourself more, like after you got your first official booking from the ads, or like what happened for you?
yeah, when you get that first booking from the ad, it kind of like gives this certain fire of confidence and like, oh my God, okay, this is actually working. Like, let's go. So I think what came from that was I just got super inspired to post consistently on Instagram, only because I was like, okay, I know I only have one ad going. So what can I do to provide valuable information? Because that one call, like, it just really motivated me. So I was like, okay, I want to like share more, so it was just a pair of then going into this role of being like, okay, if I am actually this trusted advisor, like what information can I put out there to help simplify these couples planning process for them? So combination of like motivation from the call and then realizing like, okay, what should I do more of that I can do for free within my small budget right now to be able to show them that I am a trusted advisor and not just tell them, you know? So
Yeah.
that was something that really inspired me, and then I started, like, blogging and started doing all these, like, little things that I overlooked before, but it just came back to it wasn't even me trying to make money, it was me trying to provide value, which in turn just naturally, once people came across my page, they were like, "Oh, okay, like, she's actively trying to showcase what she can to help us, like, we wanna talk to her, even if we're too early on." Like, I've had people reach out from the ads that are like, "Love your work, really wanna reconnect, just wanna let you know we're, like, nowhere near ready, but I really wanna stay in touch." And then they like all of my stories and keep up with my stuff that I'm sharing, so I think just really stepping into that role of being that trusted advisor was the game changer from that first call, so that that for me has been a huge one.
I freaking love it. So now let's actually rewind a little bit, right? Let's talk about how our paths crossed. What were you kind of struggling with that made you decide, like, you know what, I actually need some expert marketing and sales help?
I just realized that everyone around me in the wedding world, they were very old school and traditional with their marketing techniques, and they were all struggling financially, and they'd been in the industry for many years. And I just thought to myself, if you guys are struggling and you've been in this for this long, like, this isn't very motivating for me right now. I have no one to learn from. Like, I can't ask for advice from you because you're struggling as well. I love the analogy you used at the beginning of the course, saying something along the lines of, if you're trying to, I don't remember what it was, but you compared using a BlackBerry in this day and age to
Oh
using the new
yeah.
iPhone.
Oh yeah.
And that stuck with me, and I was like, "Oh my god, everyone's on the BlackBerry." Like, everyone's trying to do all these old methods, and you were the only one who, and I had seen you many times before reaching out. Even when I reached out initially, I, like, couldn't commit for many months, and it always stood out to me where I was like, "He's doing something different." All these other people were talking about the same things. All of these little courses are these roundabout general pieces of advice that aren't actually getting you results. And so my focus was like the whole time, but as I saw your ad from the very first time, I was like, how can I generate more clients when no one around me can like give me that advice because they're all struggling? And I'm like, if I'm going to be in this industry and like it's a very expensive industry to be in. My
Mhm.
gear, like everything, my time, it is so much. I was like, should I just work a regular job? Like this doesn't seem to be very profitable. And I said, that's a lie. The wedding world is so profitable and I really love doing this. So how can I like break through? And every time I saw your ad, I was like, that seems like the logical thing to do. Like, why isn't everyone doing this? And so after I had been in contact like multiple times with Karen and like talking about all of this, it was just really clicking with me that like this is the new way to be doing things. Like your number one priority as someone who works for yourself, especially in this kind of industry, is you need exposure. Exposure, I don't believe is going to come from you posting consistently every day on Instagram. Like I refuse to believe that. I was like, then why aren't you all getting booked out if you're
Mhm.
posting all the time? Like this doesn't add up. So that's why you stood out to me. And I was like, okay, ads are the way to go. I saw a couple other courses about ads, but it was the results and the testimonials. Like I always watch testimonials very like a lot before I invest in something. That's why it's really cool to be on here with you right now because I've watched so many of yours and just hearing what these people's experiences were, I just knew like this is the route to go because how else it didn't make sense to me how else you could make a sustainable, profitable business with doing these methods that everyone was doing around me. So even though it took a while for me to finally make the investment and take that step, because I was very worried financially. I grew up very, very poor. So the thought of that was like very daunting. And so I was like interested and then I disappear. Then I'm interested and then disappear. Karen was the one who really like she was my rock at the beginning of this. So yeah, it was a very interesting journey before I actually decided to commit, but it was just you. It was just you and what you were doing. It was just different than anything that I'd seen. And now I see ad courses everywhere, but I know that they're not like yours. I already know that. So
Yeah. Um, okay, couple of really interesting nuggets that I want to dive into. First thing you mentioned was like that you see everybody in the wedding industry, especially around you, everybody struggling. They're all, I mean, I'm gonna call them out, not trying to put shade, like you said, but like they're all trying to pitch their own course, which is pretty much roundabout saying the same old things, same old advice that's been going around for like 2 decades now, 20 years, network, blog. Uh, have you gone through any of those courses yourself, or like how, or like did you try working with anybody like that?
so like not ad courses, but prior to your course 2 years ago, I just bought this like wedding pro mini course from someone who
Yeah.
I love their work. They're amazing. They built an incredible business, but at the end of the day, like it was all like Instagram hashtags, posting on Instagram, like connecting with other people. And I'm like, I have a best friend who's a photographer who's been in this industry for so long. She's invested in so many courses, and all of them say the exact same thing, and none of them give legitimate actionable steps, but also a step-by-step walkthrough. That's the difference where I've heard her talk to me about these courses and oh, I'm so done with these courses. They're not helping me. They're all saying the same thing. And I'm like, wow, okay, I'm glad the first course that I really invested in was a good one because she says that to me all the time. She's like, you really lucked out on the first course you got because I've gone through so many and they're all the same thing. It's good information, but they talk about mindset and then they talk about Instagram and they talk about blogging, but it's like, are you providing these people who are buying your course with actionable steps to get them exposure and also how to convert
Yeah.
like those people who they're attracting? So there was none of that. So even though I didn't thankfully invest in like all these other courses, just from the one I had before and then hearing word of mouth from other people, I was like very hesitant because if people are selling courses for only like a few $100s, even $1,000, like I
Mhm.
question that. Like why? How if you put so much time and love into this and you're selling it for this, like it didn't really add up. So I was very skeptical. And just hearing her experience alone really reinforced that I was like, I just don't wanna do that. I'm not gonna buy a course unless it really wows me. So that's been kind of my experience with just hearing about it, but I also know that in these courses, you pretty much buy it and then you only communicate with people in the course. How are you supposed to learn anything if you're only communicating with other people who need to learn instead of having, like, a direct call multiple times a week with someone? Like, a lot of these courses, you see them once a month and that's it,
Mhm.
and I was like, how are they supposed to coach you? Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
So your course being very hands-on and very, like, interactive, that stood out to me alone compared to any others that I've seen or heard of from other people.
Gotcha. And then the second thing I wanted to dive into was you watched all the testimonials. You were still scared to invest the money. How, like, what convinced you? I know Karen definitely never gave up on you. And you also spoke, I don't know if you remember, you also spoke with Christina. You actually spoke with like two different team members.
Yeah, that was I am so thankful for them because I wouldn't have made that choice probably on my own. So I was very nervous, because at that point I was like only working for myself. And like I live in a van, okay? Like I live in a van and I don't have these like luxuries and this like additional income. Like it's a very simple little life that I have because I have goals of wanting to buy a home, and I can't do that if I rent in the most expensive place in Canada. I live in the number one destination area in Canada. It is so hard to live. I've lived here for 6, 7 years now, and I've rented for 6 of those years. So I was not in a position where I was like, okay, I know that this money will come back. I just, I had to sit with myself and be like, once you spend this money, it is gone. But I had to come to a place where I realized if I'm hoarding money because I am sitting in fear, I will never actually be successful because I will always be hoarding my money. So, since I have been so on top of making sure I don't spend it in the wrong place or just like buy all these little courses because I'm desperate, I like put my ducks in a row and said, okay, this one investment does seem worth it to me, and I just need to take that chance on myself. And even though it's really scary, I've never done anything like that before. Like, I'm not someone who will just like spend thousands of dollars on something. I'm just not that person. And so I just had that click in me where I was just like, okay, if you're taking this seriously and you really care about the growth of your business, I think this is the right decision. So how are we going to make it work? I can do it, but I'm scared. And she's like, you know what? Let's start you right now. We're just gonna get you in and get the ball rolling so you can't turn back. But you know that this is for the best. And I just thought to myself, okay, you know what? If something is this scary, there must be something really good also. Like it was this weird feeling of just this like knowing inside of me where I was just like, do this for yourself. Because what are you gonna do? Like, I actually thought to myself, like, if I don't do this, like, what else am I gonna do? There's no one around me who can help me. And anyone who's saying they can help me, I just don't trust them right away. There's something about them, something about these online people. Like, I don't know what it was about you that like was separate from that. I think it was just how like real you were on your ads, walking around on your iPhone. Just like I just was able to connect with that more than any other thing that I'd seen online. So I think it was just that shift within me to be like, okay, if you take this seriously, you have to take a chance on yourself. And this feels like the chance to take. So it took months, but I finally made that decision. And I'm so glad that I did because this course has paid itself off time and time again. And it's only going to be even better. Like, I didn't think I would learn this much in this course, to be honest. I just thought I'd come and learn about ads, whatever, but it's been so much more than I could have imagined. So I'm just so glad that I decided to not stay in that fear and that like tightness and just be like, let's just jump off the cliff and do it because
Yeah.
I think this is what is going to catapult everything. And thankfully it did. Like,
Yeah. I really appreciate you saying that. It means a lot to me because, like, whether you know it or not, like, we're currently on version 5 of the course. Like, every 6 months, I'm actually sitting down, re-recording the entire thing, making it even better. Literally
oh,
just did that last month.
oh,
It's to the point that it's like insanity for me, to be honest. And I'm just like, I don't feel like I have anything more to say or teach or offer, then I go back to the drawing board and I'm like, holy crap, there's more that I can teach. There's more that I can offer. And like 5.0, I am so like excited about because I feel like this is the best thing yet that I have
Whoa.
come up with, the mindset, the marketing strategies, the sales strategies. It's just like building on top of like our successful foundation already. And it's just like when you think this is as good as it gets even better. So I'm just hype about it. So like hearing from you that, oh, it's actually been so life changing, it makes the insane amount of hours that I put into it feel worth it. Because it is really like this is our full-time thing. We have full-time team members working on this. We've got wedding photographers, planners, like everybody is here, marketing experts, copywriters. It's an entire team. So it's like paying for them to be here as well, and then insane hours from my end. And hearing this is like, okay, cool. Keep doing it, Mahmood. It's actually working out.
For real, keep doing it. I'm so proud of you, and I'm so happy to hear that you're doing that. I actually silently cheered you on the other day when I was in Rapid 360, and I could just see that there were change. I could just see that there was like a live chat and like more people, and like in the group there was new members, and like I can tell that everything is growing. And I'm like, oh my God, I remember just being like, go, like proud moment. So everything you're doing is so paying off because if this is just one person's effect that you've had and this happens for so many people, like I'm glad that that can inspire you and be like, this is so worth all of the hard work because it is. Like you can feel how much love you put into it. That's the difference, especially for someone like me who puts like my all into everything. I can see that. And that's why I've been able to connect with this course and for it to actually integrate. It wasn't just like, here's this information, whatever. Like you're so intentional with everything. You walk through everything, which is something I need. I struggled in school so much. I almost failed multiple courses. Like my brain has a really hard time learning the way that a lot of people do. So I was intimidated at first, but the way that you simplify everything and make everything so digestible, I will just be forever grateful because you put a lot of love into it and I can tell that you're continuing to do that. So I'm so glad to hear that you're like revamping things and that's just so exciting. That's amazing to hear.
Love it. So let me ask you this. What would you say to somebody that's in your shoes right now, or we're in your shoes, right? Like trying to invest in the program and the course. They're like, yeah, I really want to work with him, work with rapid bookings, but gosh, I actually don't know if I can afford this, the investment. It seems so scary to me. What would you say to that person?
Mm. I would say that yes, your feelings are totally valid. It is a big decision to make. However, when I tell you it is 110% worth it and to just make it work, take it seriously, act like this is your university. This is what you're graduating from. This is your school. If you look at it that way, the investment actually looks very tiny in the grand scheme of things. When you look at it initially, it can feel a bit daunting. You can ask yourself, is it worth it? Like, what am I investing in? Is this something that's actually going to help me? And when I tell you this is the most well-rounded course that I have ever come across, and I haven't even taken a ton of other courses, but I have a lot of people in my life who have indulged in many courses and complained to me about them all. I can tell you that I don't know if there's another course that is this well-rounded, this informative, and this actionable. You will find so many people giving you advice on what to do, but this course guides you through every step of the way. Like to a T. It's not just like figure this out. It's here are the steps. And if you have any trouble, we're here for you. You're not just thrown into a group where you don't interact with your coach and you're just left with your questions. You answer my questions so fast. You guys have always been just so attentive, so there for me. Even when my modules had ended after the 4 months, you're still interacting with me when I'm posting my wins and posting some questions. It's just been the most supportive community that I didn't expect it to be like that supportive and interactive. So I would say that take that leap on yourself. Don't think that you can't afford it. Just ask yourself, how are you going to make it work? And you will be shocked at how much this course will pay itself off if you take it seriously and you apply everything within it. It has been life-changing, like, in so many ways. Did not expect to come out of this course feeling more confident as a human being. I expected to get better at sales and better at ads and these technical things, but to feel like I kinda stepped into this whole different vendor in a way and person that has now trickled into every other area of my life outside of business, it has been the most uplifting, well-rounded experience that I could have asked for. Like, I really didn't anticipate for this much to be in it. So that's my advice to you is just make it happen and do it because that feeling inside of you that's wondering, "Is it worth it?" You know you're in the right place. You know that this course has a lot of valuable information. It's hard to trust in something off of the bat, but that's why testimonials and hearing real world experiences like myself and so many others that he has that you have on here, we can all attest to saying this is more than worth it. And you will be so happy that you made that investment into yourself because investing into yourself is king. You can't build a castle without a solid foundation, and this will give you that.
Yeah. And then what about the new students that are coming in and looking at your success story and they want to be the next Jasmine? What's your biggest advice for them? I know it's probably crazy, right? For you to think about that. Like maybe
It
a few
is.
months ago, you were watching these videos. Now you're here on the video. But yeah.
It's a crazy one because last week I had someone reach out and ask for sales help, and I said, "Okay, what do you want help with?" And they just said, "Whatever you're doing, I wanna do it." And I just remember feeling like, wow, that is the biggest compliment. Like, it has me smiling and laughing because I'm like, as if like 6 months ago, I would not think that you'd be coming to me asking for help. So, for anyone who has seen any of my wins and are wondering, like, how can we even get to that place? I would say right off the bat, slow and steady. Don't try to rush the process of getting to a certain place because you will arrive there. But if you rush, you'll overlook some things. You'll feel desperate. You'll continue to feel desperate for those bookings, desperate for that money. I would say that come to a place of just knowing that you're in the right place right now. You're doing what is best for you. You're here, you're learning, and let the course unfold as it does. Don't try to skip anything. I'm telling you that right now. If you do, you will regret it. I tried to skip a couple things at first, and then Mahmood, you were like, don't skip this. I know that you're probably trying to skip this. And I was like, oh, you're calling me out from across the world. So I would say take every module as it comes and don't try to rush your way through to make it to the end so that you can start making money because it just doesn't happen like that. All of this valuable information is spaced out the way that it should be. So follow it, take advantage of the groups. Don't be quiet and think that you can't like interact with people or that you'll feel annoying if you ask too many questions. Take advantage of it. Like these 4 months are going to be the most valuable 4 months of your business. I can guarantee you that right now. So just interact with everyone. If you have questions, never be scared. You're on calls, never be scared to talk and to share because in group calls, sometimes I felt like that at first. I was like, oh, I don't want to talk. I just want to. Don't do that. Just be here, take advantage of it. But at the end of the day, slow and steady, and you will get there. Make sure to take advantage of the sales practice with other people. Make sure to keep coming back to your own sales script and refining it. Watch your videos. When you have your calls with people, watch your recordings. Keep just coming back to yourself and working on it tidbit by tidbit. Don't think overnight you're going to make this massive change and you're just going to start making bank. You will start making money. Just come at it in the way that the course is laid out, and it will be such a fun experience because there's so much information within it. You don't want to overlook anything by trying to rush through it. And it's going to take you a few times to understand certain things. So just take it at a good pace and know that you will get to the place that you want to be. Just take full advantage of it while it's here. Like there were some calls that I missed that I regret to this day. I'm like, God, I wish I prioritized this more. And like, I let life get busy. So if there's one piece of advice I can give is just treat this like university, treat this like this is the key to your success because it is. So just slow and steady and you'll get there. But make sure to take advantage of every single call. Go back and watch the calls that you have access to because you will find little tidbits from others who will help you. And just take it all in as much as you can. Don't try to like brush off any of it because it's all there for a reason.
Yeah. And what if they were feeling, let's say, a little bit negative, right? If somebody finds themselves in a dark spot where they're like having a lot of doubts come up, they're like doubting their own ability, they're doubting the course, they're doubting me as a coach, and they're just like, I don't know if it's going to work out. And they're letting the negativity take hold of them rather than seeing the light and positivity that you're seeing, right? If they don't see results day one, what would you say to them to keep moving forward, keep pushing?
If you don't see results right away, do not get discouraged at all. This is something that just has to be refined and time again. Think of like really successful companies. It didn't happen overnight, right? There's been a lot of work from their team and their marketing and all these little things that come together. You're a one person team, probably, right? So if you're feeling discouraged, know that that's okay because I experienced that too. Mahmood will tell you in part of the course there's a time that's going to come where you might want to just look away from everything and completely ignore it because you're getting scared and feeling overwhelmed because it's new and unfamiliar. This happened to me after my Facebook account got hacked and I got so disappointed. I cried on this call to everyone and I ignored this course for like 2 weeks because I was just so discouraged. But you always keep coming up again. No matter what knocks you down, no matter what knocks your confidence, just learn from it and sit with yourself and be like, okay, something about this isn't working. Let's refine because you're just strengthening your skill set. There's no shame to be had in not seeing results right away. The only shame to come would be if you don't look at those results and ask how you can do better. This course is not just here you go, plug in these little things, success. You are also so responsible for your success, and I believe in you no matter who you are. But just come back to believing that you can get to that place with practice and time. And that's why this group is here for you to be able to answer your questions, give you advice, be there for you, and help you in any way that they can. But know that if you're feeling that doubt, it's a normal, but don't look away from it. Like face it head on because it's so easy to just be like, I'm just going to ignore this and try to move on and focus on the money. But it all comes back to you and what's going on within here. So check in with self, check in with your values every day to remind you why you're here, why you're in this industry. This industry is not for the faint of heart, right? We're here to help people and provide this amazing experience. So just come back to remembering those core values within yourself, why you're in it, and okay, I'm going to keep moving forward and keep learning because this is the life that I want. You deserve it and you can have it and you will build it over time. When you're feeling that doubt, it's okay. Don't feel embarrassed to feel it. Don't feel like you shouldn't feel it. Just feel it and see it for what it is and keep moving forward. Tiny bit by tiny bit. Even if you're feeling discouraged, you do a little bit each day. Maybe you're not doing a lot, but having that consistency to just keep the momentum going. And then all of a sudden, when you start getting, oh, one, even an inquiry, okay, now you've got a little bit of fire under your butt. This is awesome. Oh, you get that booking. Oh, this is actually really cool. It's a snowball effect, and sometimes it will take a little bit of time to get there. Like for me, I didn't get a booking from the ads for the first 2 months. It took a time, And now here I am being able to have like 10K weeks just because I trust in the process and you don't get discouraged. I did get discouraged and I wasted a bit of this course. So please learn from me and just cry on the call if you have to. That's fine. Just don't ignore the call and just
Yeah.
take advantage of it and know that it's normal to feel this way and you will get through it. Just keep going. That would be
Yeah.
my advice.
And it's totally fine if you cry because we're here as a community, like no judgment. We love you still.
Exactly. It's okay to show up in any form as long as you just show up. That's it. Just show up.
100%. Well, wow. What a freaking interview. Wow. I feel like I learned a lot from this interview, and I have a lot of nuggets to take away myself. And to be honest with you, Jasmine, it's like the person that you've become. That's the proudest thing for me, more so than the money you've made.
Me too. 100%. Like the
Yeah.
money is on the back burner for me, just keeping me going. but it's everything that's happened that's just like, wow. So I really appreciate you saying that because that's how I feel. I'm like, the money isn't even the priority. It's cool, but
Hmm.
it's the person that I've become from this course that I did not expect. It's been so beautiful.
Yeah, you brought tears to my eyes. Wow.
Oh,
Whew.
oh, that
Wow.
is wow. Yeah, that's beautiful.
And
It's been
and to think that you almost never joined and we would have never worked. Like that's the craziest part for me. But I'm just appreciative that you gave us a shot.
something in my gut just knew, and sometimes you just gotta follow that even though you don't know how you're gonna make it happen. You just know you have to. So if
Yes.
you're in that position, anyone, listen to that part of you because something in you is telling you that this is what you need right now. Because I can guarantee it's gonna be way more than you anticipated. It's like seeing a flower that has just like opened up from this like tight little thing looking away from the sun, and now it's just like walking through the world with the utmost confidence. Like you said, like the money isn't even the priority for me for what I've taken away. The money is so cool. Like I'm like, whoa, I really turned 1,200 into 23 grand. That's wild. But what's even more wild is how I feel inside and what I can contribute now. So thank you for sharing those kind words. It's been like there aren't really words for me to
Yeah.
describe it, but you know.
Same, same. I'm freaking speechless. Just pumped for you. I'm just pumped for the future. Just want to keep seeing you grow. Like whether you know it or not, like we talk about you on the team like all the time and we're just like cheering you on in the
What?
background. Yeah. We
No
we
way.
talk about you guys like all the time because like it'll come up on the team meetings and I'm just like we never forget about the people that we work with or we try to impact and the good that comes out of every day. So yeah,
That is so cool. I just love that I'm able to still post my wins and like interact with you guys. I am just so excited to be able to have you guys in my corner as you watch me grow. Like I love seeing you like my Instagram reels, and I'm like you're just going to see things just grow, and it's not like you're just here for the course and then you've disappeared. You're like now a part of my wedding world life, and
yeah.
that is so cool to me. So I'm just glad that we get to still kind of stay in touch and get to watch each other grow. I watch your business grow and vice versa, and we're all just here to support each other. It's the best community I could have asked for.
Well, thank you again, Jasmine. I'm super appreciative of your time. Thanks for doing this interview.
I'm so happy to have been on this. Thank you so much for having me.